What's cracking, big dogs? Sorry, I gotta stop yelling. It's Saturday. Happy weekend. Happy Saturday. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the headquarters. Welcome back to the Patreon-only live stream every single Saturday. If you want to sign up and ask your sit-star questions, you can go do that by scrolling up a little bit. Or if you're on your phone, you can go to your Google Chrome app, type in the URL, Patreon, that's patreon.com/BDGE. I can't wait till BDGE gets a collab with Big Baller Brand. Big Baller Brand is one of those companies that like got so ridiculous that I never would have originally got any merch from them, except now that they became so ridiculous that I think it's kind of swaggy to have it. This isn't mine. I would actually never have bought their gear because it was like $100 fucking for a sweatshirt. But a friend of mine gave this to me, so I'm gonna rock it all the time. This is actually an extra large, and it fits me pretty well, which I'm pretty pumped about. How we doing, everybody? We got 6 people in here, but no one's talking. Somebody chirp at me. Say hello. Say good morning. Ask me how I'm doing. Ask me how my turkey was. Is my connection shot, or y'all just being disrespectful? Whatever. All right. Well, we're going to jump into the cornerback wide receiver shadow chart for this week, as we always start these off with. Hey, there we go. There we go. I feel like they all just came in at once. What up, Danny? Bourgeois. Ryan, was good. Daniel Grafton, how we doing? Millie Tings. Yeah, so my Thanksgiving was good. You know what's funny about Thanksgiving is, like, with my family, I got a big family, and every time we do these like holiday things, we get a shitload of food, and you end up eating like too much, and you feel like shit. But every time you go into one, I'm always like, you know what, like, this is gonna be a good one. I'm gonna just enjoy myself. I'm not gonna eat too much, and blah 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 blah. And then like 11 p.m. rolls around, I feel like a fat piece of shit. Moral of the story: I still kind of feel like a fat piece of shit, but that's about it for story time today. Let's talk about wide receivers and cornerbacks. So we have Christian Kirk going against LA, and he will get Jalen Ramsey. I don't know if that's really going to happen. I don't know if Ramsey has really been using shadow coverage that much this year, but if he does, that's an interesting matchup because Kirk's obviously an up-and-coming outside wide receiver talent who hasn't really exploded onto the scene as much as we'd like to have seen him do, but he's had his big games. So that's something I'm very intrigued by in week 13. Christian Kirk versus Jalen Ramsey. We have Adoree Jackson, who would have obviously shadowed T.Y. Hilton, but T.Y. Hilton is out, and I'm very nervous about T.Y. Hilton because that calf seems like he honestly might be shut down. Wouldn't surprise me, because usually when you have injuries like that, they have any of those lower leg muscle injuries like strains, hamstring, calf, whatever, groin, their initial timetable is somewhere within like 1 to 3 weeks. If they come back too early and re-injure it, that second absence is usually longer than the first absence. So that's what scares me about T.Y. and sucks because they got such a good matchup for the fantasy playoffs. And also, let me know how the audio is going because I'm using the MacBook Pro microphone, which is supposedly like studio quality. It's the new MacBook, which is like the 16-inch one or whatever. So if this audio sounds kind of shitty, let me know, and I'll swap back to the to old reliable. But I kind of like not having this thing in my fucking face. It's Gucci. All right, cool, super clear audio, beautiful. So Zach Pascal, I'm assuming he's kind of like the next guy up on the outside. Paris Campbell should be back this week, but I'm sure he's more of like a weapon or a slot guy than he is an outside threat this time. So could see some Adoree Jackson, who has low-key been very good this year against Zach Pascal. Not that any of you guys are really jumping to put him into your lineups, but just saying, Terry McLaurin's going to get a lot of James Bradberry, who's been pretty good as well. And then you have the Patriots versus the Texans, which should be an interesting matchup. We'll have Will Fuller against Jason McCourty. We'll have DeAndre Hopkins against Stephon Gilmore, and we'll have Kenny Stills against Jonathan Jones. Now, I mean, if you have Hopkins, you're obviously playing him. Stills has done absolutely next to nothing since Will Fuller's been out, so you're probably not playing him either. Will Fuller becomes the tricky one. I think that we saw Fuller's big game, and like we've been here before where he has his big game and then he does absolutely nothing the next like 6 weeks. It's like the story of his season so far. I'm not excited because when you look at the Patriots, it's like there's no team that's better at taking away the opposing team's like best option in terms of like explosiveness and just overall play types on the opponent's team. And with Houston, like they struggle without that deep passer. Like this passing offense really gets nothing going when Will Fuller is not on the field. And I think, they're going to look to take away DeAndre Hopkins, of course, but I think they're going to more so look to limit the deep passes because when when Will Fuller and just this offense overall, Sean Watson and the Houston Texans offense starts clicking downfield, that is when this becomes one of the most dangerous offenses in the NFL. When they don't have that going, it's just dink and dumps. It's these 6-yard passes to DeAndre Hopkins, and they're not going to be able to beat the Patriots that way. So I have a feeling that we're going to see Will Fuller shut down, or at least a lot of the deep passing game shut down. So I'm not really excited to get him going. All right. Let's take some questions. What's up, big dog? What up, Millie Tings? Hope you had a happy Thanksgiving. Who should I start this week? Rashad Penny, Darius Geis, or Chase Edmonds? I'm going to go with the guy who I think we have a pretty good idea of in terms of a workload, and that will be Darius Geis, in my opinion. I know Rashad Penny just had his big week, but it was something I suspected. I still think Chris Carson is very much the guy in that backfield, and that was what they came out and echoed as per report of either this morning or last night, that Chris Carson is still the guy in the backfield. And it wouldn't surprise me if we saw Penny get like 7 or 8 touches, which I'm not too excited about. And then Chase Edmonds coming off this long injury, I also don't trust whatever volume that we might see out of him. So I would roll with Darius Geis there. Daniel Graff, Kids Table's popping. Kids Table's always popping. I'm trying to milk that out until what's the oldest age you could stay at the Kids Table? I said 50, but I feel like that might be ridiculous. I might be sitting like with my kids at the kids table or my grandkids at the kids table by the time I'm fucking 50. They're going to kick me out. So I'm going to milk it until I'm like at least 34. Kids table's always popping because you get to go get food first. There's usually chicken fingers at the kids table. So, that's like the 2 things that I care about right there. Worried about Kirk with Ramsey and shadow coverage. Yeah, it's not a great matchup for him. I think this might actually be a lower scoring game than a lot of people are thinking. The over-under is only 47.5 right now, so it's not like Vegas really expects a shootout. Kirk is probably like a lower-end wide receiver 3 at this point for me. What's cracking, big dog? What up, Eric? Yes, no Mayo was in sight. As Chark owner, do I roll with Foles this week and rest of season for that stack or diversify and play league winner Ryan Tannehill? For this week, I'm going to stack Foles and Chark. As for week to week, you're going to probably have to come back and ask me as per the matchups going forward. I can't predict weeks from now what's going to happen. There's defensive injuries, there's offensive injuries. We might have Gardner Minshew starting in a couple of weeks. We don't know. So for right now, I like the Foles and Chark stack. With Connor doubtful, James Conner. Yeah, I think I'm almost positive James Conner's been ruled out unless I just made that up. Would you start Benny Snell or Joe Mixon? I'd actually probably start Benny Snell here, depending on what the actual scoring settings are. Peltine. If it's full PPR, I would lean towards Mixon because Snell's not very involved in the passing game. But if it's standard, I really like the workload that Snell's getting. Plus, he gets a pretty good matchup against Cleveland, whereas Mixon's going against the Jets, who are like the hottest run defense in the NFL right now. They've been almost locked down against running backs. It's very hard for them to get anything going. And, Andy Dalton just doesn't pass the ball to Mixon much. So that kind of scares me from a yardage standpoint, but I still think he gets more involved in the passing game than a guy like Benny Snell. So depending on what your scoring settings are. Andrews or Rudolph half PPR? Definitely Andrews. I'm not going to – I could understand if you want to sit Andrews, I guess, because of I don't know. The 49ers haven't been really that shut down against tight ends since Quan Alexander got hurt and was out for the year because he was one of the best cover linebackers in the NFL. And they've had tight ends do pretty well against them relatively. So unless it was someone that was a real legit second option, I would still roll with Andrews. Sean? Gurley or Hopkins as flex in half PPR? That's a great question. Damn, I find it too hard to sit Hopkins, to be honest. My heart says Hopkins. My brain says Gurley, which probably means you should go Gurley. I will give you Hopkins, but it's definitely close. And at pick 2, Harry, Jay Washington, McLaurin. Wait, N'Keal Harry, James Washington, McLaurin, Woods in standard. I'm going to throw James Washington as 1 because Juju's out again. And we saw Mr. Duck come in and not be afraid to take shots right down the field immediately to James Washington. So I like that. That's one thing that you kind of love to see. He wasn't hesitant to pull the trigger right away. And the McLaurin Woods is actually a good one. I have that same kind of predicament in the E-Town get down, but mine is half PPR. So I actually went with Woods over McLaurin. But in standard, I don't hate McLaurin over Woods just because I think he gets more deep shots down the field. However, I don't know. Woods has been, relatively hot, I guess, as of late. So I don't hate Woods this week because the Arizona matchup's nice. Patrick Peterson will probably be on Brandon Cooks, and Gerald Everett is out. So Woods should get some good play there. So I will final say, Iggy, we're going to go James Washington. We're going to go Robert Woods. Ash Ketchum, what up? Jonathan Williams or Miles Sanders with Howard out? Now, Philly gets the Dolphins. And what is it? Colts versus the Titans, right? Yeah. I'm going to go. I know Jonathan Williams has looked good, but yeah, give me Miles Sanders there. I'll take Sanders, PPR. Ronald Jones or Jonathan Williams? You're definitely going to want to go Ronald Jones here because the Jacksonville Jaguars have just been so fucking bad against opposing running backs. Over the last 4 weeks in a row, they're letting up over 8 yards per carry, and every running back is just, Marlon Mack, Jonathan Williams, Carlos Hyde, whoever the last guy was up against them, Derrick Henry. Jacksonville has just been so miserable against opposing running backs. Snacks could go out there and run for $112. Snacks runs like a 5.9. Actually, we're going to do a combine this offseason, and you'll get Snacks' true 40 number, which it really might be like 7.2. Yeah, so give me Rojo there. Nick, my only question today, help needed at wide receiver 3 and flex. Kirk, James Washington, Hollywood, Darrell Williams. Oh, is that a full PPR for yours? Okay, so I'm going to sit Kirk. I'm going to sit James Washington. It's going to be close between Hollywood and Darrell Williams for me. I really like Darrell Williams with what's his name, with Damian Williams out, and they have a great matchup. 11-point favorites at home. What was the other option? Marquise. Ooh, I like Marquise too. He's been pretty good lately. Now he's running all the routes. He's been in on all the snaps. And the Ravens get the 49ers, who are very tough, actually. And Richard Sherman has been an absolute fucking stud. So just off that, I'm going to go with Darrell Williams. I'm going to go with the safe workload, Danny. So that will be my choice, Darrell. Pick 3, Mixon, Breida, Darrell Williams, Snell. Iggy, I'm going to sit Breida there. I'm going to go right out and sit Breida. You think Lockett's going to have a big week? Depending on what your definition of big is. He's going to have a better week than last week. And the Minnesota secondary is not anywhere near what people probably think it is. So, I like Lockett for definitely a nice bounce back week. The last week was bad, but he still did lead the team in receiving yards somehow with fucking 37 or whatever he had. I have Josh Allen and Tannehill ride Allen weeks 14 or 16 or play matchups. Allen has Baltimore at Pitt at New England, and Tannehill ride Allen. No, you're going to want to go week to week on that. Just looking at matchups, yeah, you'll probably want to play. Ryan Tannehill is basically Josh Allen right now with maybe a little bit more passing consistency. I'm probably not going to ride Josh Allen in those tough matchups. I'll probably take Tannehill. How do you feel about starting Packers defense rest of the season? Guys, anytime there's streaming options, you guys I get a lot of questions. Can I start this guy for the next 7 games? It's always week to week. I can't give you a flat answer about That being said, I just did pick up the Green Bay Packers defense yesterday or this morning. I think the waiver wire processed because they play at home against the Redskins next week. So little tip, little trick. If the Packers are on your waiver wire right now, pick them up now because they play the Skins, Dwayne Haskins, the Washington Dwayne Haskins at home next week. I don't even know what their schedule is after that, to be honest with you. Am I crazy to worry about this? But to start in playoffs going forward between Devontae Adams, who has Washington, Chicago, Minnesota, and Detroit, or Devontae Parker, who has Jets, Giants, Bengals. Yeah, again, it's week to week. I mean, nothing on Devontae Adams' schedule really makes me nervous. Washington, Minnesota, Detroit are all very beatable through the air. Chicago's obviously been better, but we just saw Kenny Golladay absolutely go nuts against them. So, I mean, it looks a little bit daunting, but Devontae Adams' schedule is definitely not that bad. PPR league always up. Deshaun or Darnold? I'm going to go with Deshaun, but they're very close in my rankings. I want to say Deshaun is my QB. Oh, no, I have my QB 7 and Darnold down at QB 12. But, I mean, the discrepancy between the two is very, 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 very small. Ask Siri or Google if Marlon Mack going to be back in time for playoffs. Depending on when your playoffs start, I believe he is expecting a Week 14 return, which would be next week. Any of y'all live in any of the following places? New Orleans, Las Vegas, San Diego, or Hawaii? He'd be a decent play at tight end with Everett out. I have no one else. Yeah, I mean, he's not a terrible streaming option, but I'm not going to go nuts about him. He's not just going to go into my top 8 strictly because he's playing against Arizona. Yeah, bro, I'm all in on Hollister. I like Hollister a lot. The big games are coming. Last week there was a 15-yard catch he had that was called back on some bullshit penalty, and also Russ overthrew him. He was wide open in the end zone. Russ just threw over his head by 10 feet, which is so uncharacteristic. Jacob Hollister would have had a big game last week as well, had these stupid-ass little things not gone wrong for him. So, yeah, Hollister. Just keep riding Hollister. You're fine unless you have a really good option beside him. Pick 2, flex, PPR, Hunter Henry, Miles Sanders, Devontae Parker. Ooh, that's a good one. Who are the Chargers playing against? They're playing against the Broncos. Miles Sanders, Devontae Parker. And Miami gets the Eagles. Yeah, I'm gonna sit Hunter Henry. I'm gonna go with Sanders and Parker. I'm just worried about that that Chargers offense. They're showing no consistency. And some games are just bad flat outs. Some other games they just ride the running backs the entire day. I don't know. It's kind of weird, Steve. You worried about Lamar Jackson this week against the Niners? Fuck no. Fark no, brother. Winston or Darnold can lock in a bye week. I'm playing Winston there. I'm playing Winston everywhere, every week. At this point, it doesn't even fucking matter. I need 2 running backs, FPR. Mix in Melvin Gordon, Gurley. Thanks, Nick. No problem, buddy. I'm going to go with Melvin Gordon, and I'm going to go with Todd Gurley there. Tough one here. Quarterback, Deshaun Watson and Jameis Winston. That is a tough one. In the E-Town Get Down, I am fortunate enough to have both of them. So, maybe not fortunate this week, but I have Deshaun Watson as QB 7, and I have Jameis Winston as quarterback 9. This just seems like a game that Jameis Winston is going to end up fucking throwing 3 picks again, which is every single game. But I don't know. I'm going to go with Watson over Jameis Winston. Not by much, but that is what I would do if it was my team personally. If I win one of my matchups this week, then I made the playoffs in 5 of 5 leagues. 3 once he's locked up. Damn. Don't thank me, man. You're the one making decisions all year long. You're the one that drafted a good team. I tell people not to thank me only because I tell people not to yell at me when I'm wrong about shit. Y'all are all grown-ass men, maybe some women in here. Y'all make your own fucking decisions. I just lay out the big facts. Y'all can do whatever you want with them. Your feels? Not much on the wire. Play Bills defense against Baltimore next week. Sounds a little scary. Yeah, I'm probably almost definitely not going to start anyone against the Baltimore offense, especially because the Baltimore strength on offense matches up terribly for the Bills defense, because the Bills defense is really soft against the run. Meanwhile, Baltimore's offense is fucking really good at running the ball. So, yeah, I'm not going to go with the Bills D there. A goddamn narwhal tusk. What the fuck does that mean? What inside joke am I missing out on here? Scotty boy, what up? Give me a second real quick. Would you say Terry or Cortland Sutton dynasty? Oh, don't fuck with me like that. I'll take Cortland Sutton, and I'm not just saying that because I own him. Like, if you offered me Terry for Cortland, I would turn that trade down because, I mean, I think Terry has a chance to be like Antonio Brown, that type of receiver. But I also think Cortland Sutton has the chance to be like Julio. Like, I like the ceiling of Cortland Sutton more than I like the ceiling of Terry McLaurin. You know, but I would love to fucking have both of them. I really think next year, if I get into a dynasty startup draft, if we do another one, like my rounds 4 through 9 are literally all going to be receivers from this class. Like, it might just be like even though Cortland Sutton will probably be like a second round dynasty pick next year. It's going to be like Cortland Sutton, Hollywood Brown, Terry McLaurin, like all those guys are just going to be all of my mid-round picks. Which means I probably won't get any of them, and I'll end up drafting like Le'Veon Bell. Fuck. Big Tusk energy. Oh, are you talking about my hair? Thomas Fife. Sup, Nick? How you doing? Hope you are feeling better. What you mean? Oh, for my vlog. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate everybody that left comments on the vlog, by the way. That was a lot of positive support. I was just venting. I filmed that clip a couple of weeks ago, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, so I'm in a lot better headspace now. But it also felt really good to get that out and get it off my chest, kind of. So, yeah, definitely feeling better. I appreciate that. Feeling good, feeling excited, feeling energized, and ready to fucking dominate the rest of the season and the offseason as well. So, start fading John Brown. Team starting to double in plus tough schedule. Yeah, again though, it's gonna come down to like every week sit start who your other options are. I can't really just say in a vacuum to downgrade John Brown every week. Ever thought of adding one of your patrons to your leagues, like a competition, a video submission or something? That's a great fucking idea. There are a bunch of different ideas that we're trying to kind of circulate around for Patreon to try to keep patrons engaged throughout the offseason. That actually might be a really good one to start a startup dynasty league with Patreons only. That'd be cool. I think a lot of you guys would like that. So yeah, I'm gonna write that down right now. Actually, different Patreon idea. What kind of stuff would you guys like to see throughout the offseason? I was thinking, obviously, since we're not going to be focused on redraft too much, I want to do a lot of dynasty focused content, but I also I don't want to just stick to fantasy football stuff. Like, I wonder what stuff in the offseason you guys would like to see exclusively from me. It could be about the brand. It could be business things. It could be just like lifestyle things in general, but any types of content, I'm very much open to suggestions, because that's been something I haven't really focused on too much. So yeah, Patreon Dynasty League. I'll keep y'all updated. I'm going to do, I'll keep my dynasty rankings updated for you guys, and I'll publish those throughout the off season as well. So if you're in, if you're making trades or if you're in startup drafts or something, those hopefully will help you out. So Patreon, Dynasty Startup, Dynasty Rankings. What I wanted to do was have I partnered up with Flea Flicker and Team Stake last summer to bring Patreons, like dynasty only leagues or dynasty leagues for Patrons only, but it was just too much work on the back end. They didn't have a good system in place. It was just too many things that weren't automated together. So it was just like too much manual bullshit. Yo, Nick, just wanted to say thanks for Cook McCaffrey Zeke touchdown dance a week ago. Will you do more Monkey Knife Fight props? Yeah. So, I mean, I put them out. Like, I kind of wish I explained this better, because every Saturday I put out my DFS video, but at the beginning of and a lot of you guys are season long crowd, so you don't watch the DFS videos, which also probably help you with some of your sit start decisions if you wanted to tune into those. But at the forefront of those videos, like for the first 5 or 10 minutes, I always do my favorite Monkey Knife Fight props. So if you haven't watched the DFS videos, which I didn't put one out this week only because Joe was traveling for the holidays, so I didn't end up putting one out. But for the other 12 weeks, I put out the DFS video, which started with Monkey Knife Fight Props. So going forward for the next few weeks, 14 into probably throughout the playoffs, I will be putting out Saturday videos, which will be labeled as DFS, or when the regular season is over, probably Monkey Knife Fight or whatever. Those will be where I do my touchdown dances and whatnot. Tell you what, we were sweating a little bit on that one, though. It went into like the third quarter with no touchdowns. Vlog would be a decent video. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna definitely continue to put out more vlogs, but those will definitely not be behind a paywall. Like I wouldn't keep those exclusive to Patreon only. That's actually pretty fucking funny. Maybe a Snacks and Animal, the videos themselves. Yeah, I think in the offseason they'll continue to do something with bagels and locks. I definitely want them to keep doing that weekly series. I'm not sure what they're going to pivot off to, because without football, they're going to have to, switch their focus of whatever the videos are. They're going to do something in depth with March Madness, like, go through the brackets and things like that. So that'll be good. All-season training series, maybe something with Noah, or where you take snacks and bulk them up. That would actually be really fucking funny. The only problem is, like, we're also just very far away geographically. So I don't know how many days a week we'd actually be able to work out together. I think also for Dynasty content throughout the off season, what I'm going to do is probably, how me and Noah have been doing a video weekly. I think Noah and one of my other friends, Mike was, if you've watched the Big Dogs NYC draft, like the vlog weekend that I have some of my subscribers come out to New York City for, Mike was the defending champ, the Asian kid, but he's on Twitter as well. He's been kind of building up his own personal brand in the fantasy space. I kind of want to have Noah and Mike do a weekly Dynasty video, because to be honest with you, after the season, I'm going to do a little bit of traveling. Throughout the month of January, I'll probably be gone for, anywhere from like 2 to 4 weeks. So I personally probably won't be putting out too much fantasy content in that time span. The only content you'll see from me personally will probably be the vlogs as I travel around, which is why I asked if any of you guys are in any of those cities, because that's probably my path right now. I'm going to go visit. I'm up in New York. We're up in New York. We're going to go down, visit my grandparents in Florida, hop over to New Orleans, where I'm actually going to be linking up with Mike. I think his Twitter name is @MikeMeUp, @MikeMe, and then up is 2 P's. Down in New Orleans for the College Football National Championship. I'm going to head out to Vegas right after that, probably for a night, and then go link up with some of my friends in San Diego. And then depending on how I'm feeling after all that traveling, I might hop over to Hawaii for a week or so, just to wind down and relax after that trip. So during that, I don't know exactly what my content is going to be, but I want to make sure that obviously y'all are still getting some valuable information from the headquarters straight to your fucking domes. So that'll be Dynasty stuff. I can't fucking wait to get this studio. Fuller or Scary Terry this week, half PPR. Scary Terry. Terry. I like Terry there. I like the matchup more. I don't know. If you come to South Florida, you're more than welcome. Where in South Florida? I think my grandparents are in like West Palm Beach. They live in one of those like old ass people communities though, where it's like every house looks the same, and they got like a clubhouse that's just where like everybody hangs out. And I'm like the youngest person by 50 fucking generations. So I don't really travel around Florida much. I just happen to post up with them just to kind of go visit them. West Palm Beach, bitches. Yeah, that's actually where I fly into. So maybe we are kind of close. It's all old as fuck. Yeah, that's very true. I haven't really been around Florida too much. I try to always visit them during the winter, because they lived in Brooklyn like their whole lives. But then as they got older, they like retired and moved to one of those communities where they're there for basically the entire winter. And each year it's getting like a little bit longer and longer. So they're only back in Brooklyn for like 2 months out of the year now. So I try to visit them in Florida every off season. Assuming Lockett's not 100%, would you go Hollywood over him? No, I think Tyler Lockett's fine. He played his full slate of snaps last week. It just wasn't a productive game from their passing offense. He played around 80% of the snaps. So I'm not too worried about the injury, Bourgeois. Where does McCoy land for you now that Damian is out? Let me pull up my rankings. Pretty high. I put him up pretty high. He is my running back 21. So definitely within that RB2 range, and I think his like range of outcomes is high. Like I think he could easily put up an RB1 week. What else we got for you? So dynasty rankings, we'll do maybe a dynasty startup for Patreons. We'll do I don't know, something I need to consider throughout the offseason. All right, well, that's going to wrap up today's video. We're at about the 30-minute mark, and it looks like the questions are dying down. So thank you all, as always, for the support via Patreon. I'm very, 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 very thankful for y'all that stick with me throughout the season, both for the fantasy advice that I give out that fucking probably hurts your teams mostly, but just for the general support for the brand and what we're trying to do here. Again, it's more than just fantasy football advice, man. That's why I put out the vlogs. If you haven't checked those out, I suggest you do so, man. It's just behind the scenes of what's going on in my life, in the business and whatnot, and some of the future stuff that y'all can expect to see coming forward. Definitely a fight. Yeah, maybe we'll stage a fight, like a boxing match between Snacks and Animal, or at least a wrestling match, even though Max was a pretty good wrestler, so that would not be fun at all. Maybe Scott, maybe if you're really good at video editing, we could simulate a wrestling match of two different Snackses versus Animal. I would like to gain insight on how you built and are building your brand, maybe in-depth stories of each of the guys. Yeah, the guys, that would be a pretty cool sit down of like a behind the scenes, maybe like a 15-minute interview of each person. I like that a lot. I'm trying to get Noah to move out here to New York for the summer so we could all be together for the summer and just absolutely fuck this industry up in 2020. No, I'd hold on to Ingram for one more week for sure. But as far as gaining insight on how you built your brand and are building my brand, I really, 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 really would suggest like going to my YouTube, going to the playlists and going to vlogs. Like I've vlogged once a week, literally since the day I left my full-time job 2.5 years ago. And I've done, everything that I've gone through as someone building a business. I've documented that stuff through the good, the bad, all that shit. So if you really, really want to get it raw and in the grit, man, that shit is on video and all documented for you. How was my Thanksgiving? It was good. I spent it with family. I have a big family out in New Jersey, a lot of cousins that are my age. We all get along really well. So I always go to one of, 3 or 4 of my cousins' houses to celebrate. And we all just kind of get together as family, drink a little bit, we eat a lot of bit, and it's good times. So thank you for asking. Do a sumo fat suit fight. That's a great fucking idea. We're definitely doing that sumo fight. We'll do a sumo fight. We'll do combine. And some other shit. But we'll keep you guys posted. Again, thank you. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Good luck in week 13. Hopefully y'all clinch up a playoff spot after this week. If not, I'll see y'all in week 14's video, and we'll make sure that we do that for y'all. Love you as always. Peace.